dear viewers, to a very special edition of Film-Inflicted Trauma. Now, some of you may have noticed that this episode doesn't exactly fit in with our admittedly chaotic production schedule.
Last year at Gen Con, we had the pleasure to pick up a fantastic little game called The Demon Hunters. Some of you might remember that name from back in the day when we reviewed 2 movies of the same title.
Turns out each copy of the game's core rulebook is packaged with a special DVD. The very same DVD, in fact, that is our topic today.
This isn't a conventional movie by any stretch of the imagination, however. There's no real plot or narrative structure. Instead, it's designed to be like one of those training films you sit through on your first day at a new job.
This lack of a traditional story is going to make this a tough one, but we received a request from the Lord of Time himself to review this film. Curveball though it may be, Silent Jim thought we could handle it.
Challenge accepted. This is the Brotherhood of the Celestial Torch orientation video.
The show opens with Gabriel, a demon hunter you'll remember from the movies, especially since he's still played by his original actor, Nathan Rice.
Gabriel has been tasked with introducing new hunters to the myriad of ways that a person will likely die in the course of their work for the Brotherhood. He's a fallen figure, recently demoted from the highest position attainable by a field agent.
To learn more about that, you'll have to read the book. His current position is a bit less glamorous than his previous one.
I love doing the work that a pamphlet could do.
The entire segment is interestingly made. It's drably performed and edited in a sort of slipshod, careless fashion, kind of like a training video should be. To be honest, it can be a bit of a grind to get through, but when you finally do, the magic begins.
The opening scene does drag a bit, but it segues into our first important piece of information for the game and the world, the history of the Brotherhood of the Celestial Torch.
The Brotherhood of the Celestial Torch's history goes back a long way. It seems that good and evil have been fighting longer than man has been around to name those concepts.
What we'll see here is a reenactment of the battle between David and Goliath. Prior to this battle, there was a non-interference treaty between heaven and hell. Goliath, being half human and half demon, represented a loophole in that arrangement.
A reenactment? And here I was thinking how impressive those ancient Hebrew cameras were. That and how European those ancient Hebrews looked. Or how the Philistine horde is like 4 guys and a Matt Vancel.
According to real history, that is, this history, Goliath was way more of a badass than that wuss in the Bible.
I defy Saul and his puny god.
And thus, he beats the holy mortal dog snot out of David when he steps to him.
Who takes on a giant with a sling? That's straight out of the adventures of Captain Dip.
Wait, you mean that the devil, a creature renowned for his deception and nicknamed the Lord of Lies, was duplicitous in regards to a contract? Well, I, for one, am utterly shocked. I mean, if you can't trust the Prince of Darkness, who, I ask, can you trust?
Goliath presents a pretty big advantage for Team Evil, so Heaven does what anyone in this position would probably think to do. They call in a ringer. The one man who can be trusted to take on such a beast.
Captain Mike?
You count down from 10. By the time my man hits 1, your time is done.
Nope, it's everyone's favorite demigod, Lupus Wolf. However, we're fairly sure he might be Captain Mike in his prime, or at least in disguise.
As is to be expected, Wolf mops the floor with the lowly half-demon with his Beerstein +4 and a fiery belch.
And the Jews have been conflict-free ever since.
This next section explains the Brotherhood's ranking system. Or at least it attempts to. We're still kind of fuzzy on that.
They explain that each letter is a rank, and that the numbers indicate jurisdiction. A 1 is explained to be active worldwide, and a 15 limited to a small area with no spiritual activity. That leaves us to wonder, what responsibility is left for Omegas that rank lower than 15?
The more important part is probably the reintroduction of Dead Camper Lake villainess, Angel. She's back and fitted with a new actress who brings a bit more scathing to the role. She explains the system, dresses down Gabriel, then leaves us with one last important detail about Brotherhood positioning.
Your chapter title's also a pretty good indicator of how titanic a frigid you are.
This next section introduces Jen Page as a new character, Anti-Tank Sally. What strikes me most is Jen's ability to pretend to be a bad actress.
What strikes me the most is Anti-Tank Sally's awesome rivet outfit. I had been afraid that Jen had been typecast, so it's nice to see her in a completely different set of Dreadfalls in this role.
The next section is about the different types of hunters we might meet. Gabriel introduces them via taped testimonials delivered to him from the past by Silent Jim.
What's that thing he just handed him?
A relic of a time long past, dear girl.
The big draw of this part is the reintroduction of our familiar team of hunters from the original movie, and their new actors. There's Rigor Mortis, now portrayed by Jamie Mastromonica. Albrecht, now played by Christian Doyle and minus the Australian accent, and Tree.
I can't help but notice that they recast Tree, and that is total bullshit. Who does the son of a bitch think he is trying to uproot him?
I agree. The original actor left some big shoes to fill, and I don't think this sap has a chance.
He's clearly taking a leaf out of the first Tree's book, but his deliveries are so wooden.
And his inflection is needling. It's so pulpable I can almost feel it.
Are you two done? I'd like to branch out into another topic, if it's okay with you treetards.
Gabriel wraps the section up with a question. Why would anyone want to join the Brotherhood considering its incredibly high mortality rate?
Honestly, that is a very good question. I think that some of these people are hunters for no reason other than the fact that the Brotherhood would kill them otherwise.
The next section is about the most boring member of your team, the Cypher. Now, I found that they're generally emotionless, but through experience, I have learned that they can, in fact, be taught to hate.
Alpha 1's resident mad scientist, Herr Doctor, makes his reappearance. He's still played by Jimmy McMichael. Might I add that his performance of the character has improved dramatically.
The Cypher is pretty neat. It's a robot that plugs into the Brotherhood network and takes care of paperwork, research, and other boring stuff that the action hero main characters can't be bothered with.
They're also mystically and technologically altered so as to be nearly indestructible. They're really, really hard to destroy so long as they never get hit by anything ever.
You know, I think we could skip this part. Hey, guys, do you think a magical storage space that contains literally anything a hunter could possibly want or need and can be accessed from any door is important at all?
Just take a door.
Wait, a magical door to anything that I want? Awesome! Alright guys, beer's on me!
This section also reintroduces everyone's favorite punk rock werewolf, London. He's still portrayed by Matt Shimkus, but this time around his accent has definitely improved.
Following his routine, he slinks away with the Cypher for points unknown. I believe he's off to take a lorry home so he can ride the lift up to his flat for some tea and biscuits while ringing his mum.
Well, that's London. Clean as a whistle, sharp as a thistle. Best in old Westminster, yeah!
With him out of the way, we can get down to the best part of the show. The RPG's unique concept is that it's actually a training simulation for new members of the Brotherhood. It features a cameo from the Purple Ninja, a lot of Silent Jim, and a general sense of hilarity and awesome.
You know what? This section is so awesome, we're not even going to show you any of it. You're going to have to watch it for yourself to see the best parts. We'll throw you a bone and give you some highlights, but you have to understand what you are missing out on all the best parts in between.
The final chapter of our presentation deals with the Brotherhood's wicked counterpart, the Order of the Infernal Scepter.
Who gave him sugar?
Gabriel interrupts a gentleman engaged in some shady activity, which turns out to be a delightfully recast Ichabod, now portrayed by Journey Quest's Kevin Pittman.
This new Ichabod no longer possesses an accent that murders babies and punches kittens. Mark me down as scared and horny.
Kevin's eyebrows inform us that Ichabod is performing a prisoner transfer for safety. Gabriel tries to make himself useful, but is shunned on the basis of his Omega status.
Sullenly, Gabriel imparts upon us some very useful advice, but alas and lack-a-day, he is interrupted by none other than Sam Hell, this time played by...
Scott C. Brown? I don't mind, but what happened to the little blonde feller? Don't get me wrong, I loves me some Scott C. Brown. But it's a bit jarring to have the character go from a fancy turtlenecked Bond villain to an overall-clad redneck serial killer with a white guy fro. He nails it, though. He comes off as very menacing, very unbalanced, and very dangerous.
The alphas in the background here provide a bit of a preview of things to come, and a nod to those of us in the know.
Team Alpha 1 is the best of the best, but as this foreshadowing suggests, they are not to be trusted. Avoid them in dark alleys and rest area bathrooms.
This video is a lot of fun. Its flaw is that it takes a long time to get going, but if you wait it out, it provides a lot of vital information for those of you who don't feel like reading. You lazy bastards.
However, there's something else at play here that's potentially even more exciting. You see, Matt Vancel is sitting on a whole series of Demon Hunters scripts, including a reboot of the originals and an epic conclusion to the trilogy.
All that stands between us and getting those fabulous new products is fan demand. If you're new to the Demon Hunters, let us encourage you.
There is a huge, huge amount of potential for this project, and if you have enjoyed anything from Zombie Orpheus or The Dead Gentleman at all, you will love this.
Also be sure to check out the Demon Hunters webcomic that'll be debuting this year. We'll link it below.
Keep your eyes out for the latest installment of the games, which is set to debut at Gen Con Indy this fall.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, we're Film-Inflicted Trauma.
Dodging the wreckage and the media streams. We carry on board the last piece of our sun. Nothing can stop us. We've mastered our dreams. Engines on full.
The vampire just killed you.
Dumbass.
It's dumbass. Dumbass.